morning, everyone. Thank you for coming to the practice today. I hope that this is going to provide you with some ease. And the focus today of the practice is connection. Yoga means connection, union between many different things. But here the focus, I should even say, here the focus and connection is how moving in one particular way influences another part of the body. So we're thinking about how everything within us is deeply integrated. Okay, let us begin, right? How we start the practice in the same way is connected to how we experience it. So go ahead, just orient into your space first, look around. Sometimes we don't do that. Look up, to the side, down. Look at your legs, your hands. Maybe you can see your shoulders, depends on how your neck feels today. Look diagonally to the left, to the right. And just so that we have clear awareness of where our body is in space, which we don't always think about, just take your right hand down your right arm. Feel it, both sides, all the way down the right side. Let's do the other one. And you can do it in a way that feels nice to you. Maybe you feel the top of the shoulders in the back. Draw the hand down the front of the body, over the legs. If you can reach the back of the legs and any part of the back. And maybe a little bit of the face, back of the head and neck. Okay, so here we are. Now, you can decide whether you want to have your eyes downcast or closed, right? You've looked around, you've seen where you are in your space. You've also had conscious awareness of all parts of their body where they are. And you can now choose to go inward by closing your eyes or focusing outward about a foot in front of you on the ground. And if you want in today's practice to engage Ujjayi breath, you can. I'm not going to cue it specifically. I'll cue when to inhale or exhale. But not the manner of breathing that you undertake. That's up to you. Now, whether you're looking down or you have your eyes closed, I want you to gently draw your shoulders back, just gently, so that the chest is a little forward, and then actively, from the base of your spine, lift up. So this action, this opens the rib cage a little bit more, and it allows the breath to just be a little bit fuller. We're breathing naturally, but the ribs are able to expand out a little bit more. We're not trying to do that. Then when we're not even slouching, just relax the position. So just go ahead and do that. And then one more time, actively lift up through the spine. The shoulders are just a little bit back. Seeing how what we do with our back actually influences how we breathe. Rolling the shoulders back a little bit. That influences how we breathe. We're just going to stay here for about a minute. Really focusing on just the inhale and exhale, the natural process. And if you want to test it out again, that little bit of a letting go, I don't want to say slouch, and what that feels like to breathe versus that gentle lift, Gentle drawing back of the shoulders. You're not arching the back. Go ahead. Okay. I'm going to move back just a little bit. I'll move back further when I get onto my mat. Now I want you to place your hands in front of your heart, the palms touching each other, to just sense an intention for your practice, whatever it might be. And again, noticing a sense of connection by pressing the hands closer together, and that moves all the way up the arms. You might feel it in your forearms to your shoulders. Reduce the pressure so that they're just touching. And again, press in. We'll do it twice more with breathing. So release. Press in, inhale. Exhale, release. And see if there's a change in the pressure as well in the arms, maybe even the shoulders. Inhale. Exhale, release. Good. And release the hands. Now this next thing that we're going to do, it's very subtle. So if you don't feel it, that's absolutely fine. But I want to draw your attention to it. So when we move our eyes, we have muscles at the back of our neck that also move because we are set up as human beings that when we look one way, we also turn our head. We're designed that way. It's pretty amazing. So keeping still, looking forward and center first. Maybe you're focused on me. And without moving your head and neck, look to the left and just see if you feel any sensations behind your neck. Come to center. To the right. Come to center. We'll do one more time on each side. Go to the left. And again, the focus, obviously you're noticing what your eyes are doing, but see if you can pay attention to changes in the back of the neck. Focus. And then the other side. Great. Okay. And now we're going to take some seated windmills. And in that process, your shoulder blades, your scapula, change position a lot. We'll focus on them individually in a moment, but inhale up only as high as you'd like. Exhale, come down. You might want to really stretch out this morning, or you might want to take like a windmill that's across your body like that, whatever works. Inhaling up. And exhaling down. Try and pay attention to your shoulder blades because they're really shifting position. They're supporting the capacity for this whole thing to happen. And the other way. Only opening as much as you want. So last time. Okay. So now let's choose a shoulder blade, maybe the left. And it depends on our flexibility, how far back we actually can go, right? So it's okay if it's just a little bit. Some of us can reach all the way down. But now I want you to reach your left arm up. Bring it down. Feel any change in the shoulder? Lift it up. Down. One more time. Lift it up. Down. And now let's try to get to the scapula. It's not always as easy, right? So that's the shoulder blade really getting there. And do the same thing. Lift up. Just seeing how it changes position. If you could look at your own back, you would see that shoulder blade moving a lot. It can fold a little. Right? So to move the arm, the shoulder blade changes position. Last And now let's go to the other side. Right, so we'll start placing our hand on the right shoulder. Lift up. Feel the change. Right? There's muscular energy coming through the arm all the way up the shoulder for this to happen. The last time. And then, again, place your hand back a little bit on the shoulder blade underneath your armpit. Go ahead and lift up, down. And if you don't feel too much of a change because your hand can't come that far back, just try and pay attention to the shift. See if you can feel it. One more time. Inhale up. Exhale down. Okay. I'm going to come to my mat now. If you want to play with your shoulder blades a little bit, see if you can feel them more, go ahead, or just be conscious of them on your back. They're there all the time. And we're still going to remain seated. So if you are on a cushion, as I was, you can remain on. Okay. And we're going to do spinal twist in motion. You can sit however you feel comfortable. I'm doing this, and I have some issue with my knee, so I'm just supporting it. Okay. So what we're going to do, and again, when you practice this, you lift your arms up only as much as you want. Inhale, lift up. And as you exhale, you're going to twist to your right. Your right and left hand are going to come down, and you're going to look away. Inhale, come up. Exhale the other side. Inhale, come up. Exhale to the other side. Now, I want you to really pay attention as you're going back and forth to what you feel in your back. Inhale, come up. Exhale down. Draw your attention to your back, the whole of the back. Inhale up. Exhale. Inhale up. Exhale down. We're going to do one more on each side. Inhale up. Exhale down. Inhale up. Exhale down. And actually, technically, we started on this side, so one more just to even it out. Inhale up. Exhale down. Okay. And now we're going to take a spinal twist where we hold position. So place your left hand on your right knee, your right hand behind, lift up through the chest, and twist. And just stay here and breathe. Breathe with awareness. You can bring in any kind of jai breath or something else that you want to do, elongated exhalation. But what I want to draw your attention to is that as you stay in a pose, sensation mounts. The intensity of sensation that you get increases. You have all of these sensory bodies throughout the entirety of you. And as you stay somewhere, it is not just like seated or lying down, where there is some stretch or contraction, the longer you're there, the more those sensory bodies send information to the brain. And the more you can feel the sensation. One more breath here. Inhale. Exhale, come to center. And again, inhale. Exhale, right hand on left knee, left hand behind. Going to the other side. And sometimes, as we're remaining in a pose, that increase in sensation is uncomfortable, which is different than pain. And partially what you're feeling is obviously the work of the muscles, but also just sensory information. And as the muscles work more, they also send more information to the brain. So do a few more breaths here, really paying attention to sensations in your back and any mounting sensations that are becoming stronger. Inhale. Exhale, come back around. If you're seated on anything, you might want to move it off your mat. And we're going to come into cats and cows. Right. Now, I want you to really press your hands into the floor and spread your fingers apart as much as you can, right? So if they were touching, the thumbs would be like this and the fingers out. So the thumbs are as far apart from the index fingers you can get. Place them on the ground. Your knees are hip distance apart. And you're going to inhale. You're going to look up, arch the back, and exhale. Press the spine towards the ceiling, rounding it. And if you push through the hands and the arms, that will intensify the sensation you have here in your back. Inhale, look up. And go ahead, exhale, just round towards the ceiling. And then push a little bit through the arms. And see the difference. Inhale, look up. Do the same thing, pressing through. One more time. Inhale, look up. Exhale, round the spine towards the ceiling, and then press through the arms, the hands, and see where you feel it in the back. Release the pressing. Press again. It's probably at the upper part of your back, but it might be somewhere else. Now, you can remain on tabletop. You can face me if you'd like. Often when we're in poses where our hands are on the ground and we're supporting ourselves, we don't really push the palms into the ground. And I just want you to feel the difference, right? How just the hands, how they touch the ground can impact the entire thing. So as long as everything's okay with your wrist, place your hands on the ground again and don't have them strongly pressed in. Have them a little bit loose, like you're not really paying attention. And inhale, look up. Exhale, round the spine. Inhale, look up. And the hands are really loose. The palms are not in complete contact with the ground. Exhale. Inhale, arch. And now press the hands into the ground and feel the difference. Release. Press into the ground. You can actually draw your shoulders back a little bit more. Loosen the intensity of the hands. Exhale. And now very slowly push through the hands. Feel the difference. Okay. Release. From tabletop, draw your right leg back. And the toes are curled under. Now, if you push through the heel, the stretch moves through the whole back of the leg up to the buttock. Release so that the heel isn't pushing back too much. And then go ahead and do that. That action activates the hamstring, that little movement of the heel. Relax. We'll do it with breath this time. Inhale. Exhale. Bring the knee back in front so it is lined up with the other one. Draw the left leg and foot back. We're going to do the same thing here. So we're not actively pushing back the heel, and then we are. Feel the difference behind the leg. And release. And by the way, if what I say you're not feeling, that doesn't matter. Just notice what you do feel. What changes for you? Push the heel back. Release. And one more time. Push the heel back. And we're going to come into downward dog. If downward dog doesn't feel right for you this morning, you can take child. Otherwise, curl your toes under and very gently, soft, draw your knees up. Press through those hands, right? We spent time just now understanding the difference when we press through them. Allow the head to relax, the base of the neck. And now as we're in down dog, I want you to bend your knees and feel the loosening behind the legs. And as you exhale, gently, they don't have to be straight all the way. Feel how when you do that, there is more feeling, sensation behind the legs, the hamstrings. Again, bend and straighten. And you can stay here if you'd like, or just take a moment break back down, tabletop, because we're going to look at something else, down dog. So here, I want you to notice how when you straighten your legs, that it is harder to keep your back straight. We're going to look at the difference. So if you bend into your knees, you can really press the bottom up towards the ceiling. And as you straighten them, not as much. For some of us, it might become rounded. For others, where there is a lot of flexibility in the hamstrings, there's still a change. Because what happens in the legs affects the pelvis, affects the back. Let's do that again. Bend the knees, really push through the bottom. Feel the length in the back. And very gently just straighten the knees a little bit and see the change in what you feel in the back. And now come down, draw your knees to the ground, and we're going to take child's pose. Now, you may have a version that you take. I'm going to ask you today to draw your knees together, unless there's a reason you want to take the version where they're apart. To draw your arms out in front of you. Again, the hands are open and pushed towards the ground, and to press the bottom into the heels. And see how this action, it's actually stretching through the back. Right, just in child. And then if you let your hands and arms be soft, maybe pull them back a little bit and you're on your forearms. It's also easier generally to bring the head to the ground or lower down. So child becomes more easeful. And then again, draw the hands and the arms forward, pressing the hands into the ground, pressing the bottom into the heels. The back becomes long, and here it's really what we would call counter pose, where if we arch the back in one way, we're stretching it in the other. Breathe here. Release the tension by letting the forearms come to the ground, the hands back a little bit. And now I want you to feel the difference of drawing the hands all the way back towards the feet, with the back of the palms, the back of the hands on the ground. And see how this feels. For me, that movement of the arms so that the shoulders aren't going forward, that's the most relaxing version of child. It might not be for you. You can test out again coming forward. But I want you to know, because just the position of the arms can change the whole way the child feels. And if you're using child to rest, to take a beat in the midst of a yoga practice, you want to know what's going to provide you with that greatest sense of rest, right? So check it out a few more times slowly with your breath and really notice what feels more easeful, and an even more important question, why? What feels like I'm using less muscular energy? Where do I feel the difference? I've given you a clue around the shoulders, but it might be something else for you. Okay. And now we draw from child. Walk your hands towards the front of the mat. We're going to come into supine onto the belly. Your hands can be underneath your forehead, one of your cheeks, temples, whatever feels okay for you. And because the abdomen is pressed against the ground, naturally, it's easier to feel the breathing, the rising and falling of breath. Just want you to be mindful of that. And now we're going to move out of this into Sphinx pose. So before we do anything, if your feet are apart as mine are from each other, draw them together. That changes the energy all the way up through the thighs, the back of the thighs. Draw them away a little bit and feel the ease. Draw them together. Right, you're activating muscles to draw them together and feel the difference at the back of the thighs. Now, personally, I want this to be a little bit of ease for me behind the back of the thighs. So I'm going to have the feet just a few inches apart from each other. It's up to you what you choose. And then we're going to draw our forearms onto the ground. Again, those wide opened fingers. The elbows should be about underneath your shoulders. And from here, you draw the chest forward, looking up, but don't draw your neck back. Just lengthen it. And once again, the more you press into your arms, the more effort you'll feel, and also the more that you lift the chest forward. So you can play with that. It just shows us how much the foundation affects the whole pose, just like the foundation in our life affects all the things built upon it. Okay. I come down only halfway, and I want you to pull your hands back. The forearms are not on the ground anymore. The elbows are lifted away, and you can come up into a little cobra, but I really want your elbows to be bent. So baby cobra or higher up. Either way, pull your chest to your shoulders. And what happens here is you work the back of the arms, a group of muscles called the triceps. And that's why for most of us, this pose is so much more challenging than coming into Sphinx. Come down. And again, just compare. Coming to Sphinx, you still are using those tricep muscles here, especially if you push into the ground and pull your chest forward more. But it's quite different from down than when you draw your hands back, press through the hands, keep the elbows bent. And as you pull the chest forward through the shoulders, the effort in the triceps, because that's what does it. The triceps are pulling back. It becomes much more effort. Stay whatever version you'd like for 2 breaths. And then I want you to choose your most easeful form of child. We're going to give the triceps a bit of a break. And as you're here, you can rock a little bit from left to right. You can draw your wrist forward a bit if the back of the hands are on the ground towards the feet as mine are, to just find what is the position in child now the most easeful for me. After working the triceps, a little bend in the elbows can reduce the fatigue you might feel in the triceps. Retry. Maybe not. It definitely does so for me. And if you feel like you're in your best resting pose here that you can be in, then pay attention to your breath. The pressing of the abdomen against the front of your legs. And then change your attention back to the arms. So we can do this in yoga. We can choose what we're paying attention to. And if we shift to another place like the head, how it feels in contact with the ground, or maybe it's not there, the tops of the feet. We get all different kinds of information, and we have that capacity to shift the mind to feel the body in different ways or different parts of the body. Come up. We're going to come back into down dog very briefly. And again, bend into the knees, stretch the bottom up towards the ceiling. Slightly straighten the knees and feel the change, not just behind the back of the legs, but also in the actual lower back. Bend the knees to the ground and draw the right leg, foot in between your hands. Good. Now, your foot is lined up with your knee. Most likely your heel. And I want to place both of your hands on your right thigh and just let yourself sink down a little bit as much as comfortable. Now, this may already be a lot of work for the body, but this simple act of lifting the arms up, that increases the intensity of the pose for most of us a lot. Right? You can feel the change. You might choose to stay here. And why? Because the heart is not used to pumping all the way up to hands that are overhead. right? The highest it goes is usually the head. This takes a lot more energy from the heart in a healthy way, right? As long as we don't have any issues with blood pressure. And that, along with some effort in the shoulders and the arms, changes the pose, the intensity of the pose dramatically. Breathe one more breath, lift it up if you are like that, if you are with your arms up overhead. Exhale, bring the hands back down to the right leg. Feel the difference. The hands come down to the ground. The right knee comes back to meet the left. And now we're going to switch. So your foot is lined up with your knee, ideally the heel with the knee. We're going to place our hands on the left leg, sink down, good. Right, and that action, that also works the thigh more, that's sinking down, and also the back of the back leg, or sorry, the top of the back leg, right? Or more specifically, the front, the right thigh. And from here, lifting up your arms only as much as you like. Experiment with the change in intensity in the pose. And think about how your heart is working more here to pump up blood and fresh oxygen to the hands. You're giving it a little bit of a workout. The arms, the scapula, the biceps in front of the arms, triceps, they're all working more. Inhale, exhale, place the hands on the left leg. Now have both hands on the ground. And we're going to draw the right foot to meet the left. And we're going to be basically in a standing forward bend. Take your hands around both elbows. Bend your knees a little bit. That makes it easier for the abdomen to touch the legs. You can test the difference. And then just sway a little from side to side. Let the head hang on the base of the neck if you can, so that you're not using those muscles that lift up the head as you're here. That requires less effort. So that little action, it changes what your upper back is doing. And then place your hands on your hips. And with your knees bent a little bit, inhale, rise up and feel the pull at the back of the legs. Exhale, release the hands. And we're just going to compare this to rolling up, which we sometimes do in yoga classes. So the feet are hip distance apart. Just draw yourself down. And now go ahead and one vertebrae at a time, or if you can even do that, just roll the back up nice and slowly. And again, come down gently. Place your hands on your hips, bend the knees, and rise up with a really straight back, as straight as you can, and feel the sensation behind the back of the legs. Release. And again, we're going to roll up just one more time. Right? So when you're not actively trying to keep the back straight, that does not place as much weight or pull on the hamstrings. So as you rise up with a rolled back, the sensation is probably different. And now we're going to be here for just a moment. Palms are faced forward. Your feet are hip distance apart. And if they're not parallel to each other, they're pigeon-toed in or out, I don't know, what is it, duck feet or pigeon-toed, whatever it is. If they're not parallel, go ahead and shift their position. And here, no tiny bend in the knees. Tiny, so tiny that it wouldn't be seen by most people. That changes what happens in the legs. Little action. And now have either your eyes downcast or closed about 6 feet or 2 meters in front of you. Close your eyes. And actively lift through the back. Roll the shoulders back just a tiny bit. And just like how we started, you may feel a shift in your breath. You can reduce the effort if you want. And the breath changes. It's all connected. Little things, big changes. And if you've practiced yoga for a long time, you might really feel them. And if you're newer to it, you might feel it a little bit. Okay, we're going to come into now a side stretch. Bring the hands together. Interlace the fingers. The thumbs are touching, and the index fingers come together and they point upwards. So lifting only as high as feels comfortable to you. Inhale, rise up. Draw the arms back a little bit behind the ears or at the ears. And we're going to take a stretch to the right-hand side. Try to keep the body in a line so you're not coming forward or back. And again, we're going to take a little movement that can really increase the intensity of the stretch. Press that left foot more into the ground. Release doing that. Press it in. Because that draws the leg more towards the ground. So you're moving in one direction there as you pull away with your arms. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, come down. Release the hands, Mimi. Go back there, please. Interlace the fingers again. Index fingers are touching. Rise up. Draw the arms back behind the ears or at the ears. And again, coming to the opposite side, the left. And if you press through that right foot, you may feel a change because that right leg is then pushing into the ground as the right arm is pulling away from the waist. So you're stretching more. Release the intensity by no longer pushing into the right foot. And again, push in. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, release. Okay. And now we're going to come into warrior two. So come to the front of the mat. And take either big step or lots of little ones to prepare. Now in warrior two, the front knee, in this case for me it's the left, is bent to about the heel. on that back foot is turned in just a little bit. And that sets up the position of the whole of the back leg. So I just want you to feel the difference. Lift up the arms as we do in Warrior Two, like this. Lower. And now turn that foot actually back and away a little bit. Bend. Lift up. Lower. And draw it forward. And lift up. See what you feel. One more time. Lower. Turn the foot away. Come into the warrior. Lower. And turn the back foot towards the front foot. Extend out. Looking over your front middle finger. We're going to take another, little, or I'll say micro action. I want you to actively push the inside of the back foot into the ground. That activates that whole back leg more. Release that. Push the inside more into the ground. Release that effort. And then go ahead. We're just going to stay here for 2 more breaths. Choose if you want that increased effort by pushing into the inside of the back foot or not. Inhale, straighten the knees. Exhale, come down. You can take some windmills if you like, right? Because not only were your legs working, but so were the shoulders, specifically the deltoid muscles. Right? As we move them, we alleviate some of the energy, the contraction that they were in to hold the arms up. Okay? It's a lot to hold up a whole arm that's long with a little muscle. Now, you can either walk to the front of the mat now and then change sides, drawing the other leg back, or like me, you can simply change position of the feet. So now, for me, it's the right leg that's forward. I'm going to bend into the right knee. And the back foot, left, is going to be turned in. Extend the arms out. Lower the arms. And now turn the foot out. In position. Lift up. Turn the foot again towards the front one. And in to the knee. One more time. Inhale, rise. Turn the foot away. Bend into the warrior. Inhale, rise up. And again now. Turning that left foot to meet the right. Unless you're doing the other leg. Extend out. Look over your front middle finger. And once again, I want you to push into the inside of the back foot. And that changes, that little action of the foot changes what happens throughout the entire back leg. Release that energy. Still working, but when you push into the inside, the energy for most of us to hold it increases. There's a lot more contraction in the leg. Release. And now you can choose for the next 2 breaths if you want that increased activity, activation, contraction, or not. Inhale, rise up with the legs. Exhale, arms come down. And again, you might want to release the deltoids. They worked hard to keep the arms up. And then draw the feet facing forward and come to the top of your mat. And we're going to come into a standing forward bend again. So have the feet hip distance apart, bend into the knees. Allow the torso, the abdomen to roll onto the legs. And you have a choice. You can either take your hand around both elbows, let the head hang, and be in this position. Or if you also want to work your shoulders and your arms, you can draw your arms back, interlace your fingers in both hands, and then draw the hands and the arms away from the bottom. So you have a choice of how intense you want the pose to be. That change in the arms makes a big difference. Feeling yourself breathing. And wherever you are, let your hands come to the ground. Walk the feet back and make your way onto your belly again, either using your knees, just coming down, or through press up. And one more time, we're going to come into either cobra space. You choose. What do you want to do? Choose how much energy you want to place into the hands and the arms. Exhale, come back into child. And we're going to do the active version this time. Knees are together. Hands and arms are in front of you. You're stretching them out. You're pressing into the hands. You're pressing the bottom into the heels. You're essentially lengthening the back. Now direct your attention to the feeling of breath. And come on. And sometimes in yoga, we try to direct our attention away, right? When we're doing the postures from a sensation, from a part of the body to somewhere else. And we can't, because the intensity of sensation in a particular place is too strong. Just like when we try to draw mind back from something, when the intensity of feeling and thought is really strong. But the more in yoga, in the postures, we learn to move the mind away from something that's intense, that feels intense physically, to another part of the body, even for just a moment, the more we develop that skill when we have strong thinking. Thinking where directing the mind away for a moment may help us to find some internal peace. We're going to do one more spinal twist. Okay. And here, I want you to start with both legs in front of you. You can cross the right over the left. Now flex. Draw the toes towards the nose of that straight leg of the left one. We know that has quite a big difference in terms of what happens throughout the entire leg. Draw the left arm around the right leg. Place the right hand behind you. Look over your shoulder. And if you do want to bend left knee back, you can, but that changes what happens in terms of quite a lot going in your body. And suddenly, the right buttock wants to lift up. If you can draw to the ground while still twisting back, then you can maintain this position. Otherwise, you'll get more benefit from the right leg being forward and both sides of the buttock being on the ground with ease. It shouldn't be too hard if you're taking this version with the knee bent back. And as you're here, and I keep you here for a few breaths, I want you to notice what is the strongest sensation for you as we're here, as the muscles work more, as the sensory bodies increase the information they're sending up to the brain. What do you feel the most? What becomes the strongest? And now purposely place your mind on a different part of your body, completely different, somewhere where there's not a lot of intensity being felt. For me, it's my face. It can be anywhere for you. And now shift it back to the feeling of breathing. And once again, allow your mind to go to the area of intensity. Lift the heart center up and twist back around. Wrap the legs. Straighten. And now we're going to cross the left leg over the right. And remember, flex that foot, especially if you're going to keep that leg straight. It changes what happens at the back of the leg. Draw the right leg around, hug it in. Place the left hand behind you. Keep the heart center lifted. And if you are going to bend that knee in, it has to be where both sides of the bottom remain on the ground with a level of relative ease. If not, the leg is straight and the foot is flexed. And now you're in the pose. And notice where you feel the greatest intensity. For me, I can feel it in my left buttock. Why? Because there's a big muscle there. It's like a fan called the piriformis. And mine tends to be very tight. I have sciatica, right, where that muscle tightens around the sciatic nerve, or sometimes we call it piriformis syndrome. And so for me, that's where I'm going to feel it the most. And I know I can keep it a healthy range, stretch that piriformis muscle, and that's going to loosen the tension it may place on the sciatic nerve. Some of us will be tight in different parts of our body, or just see the benefit in opening up. Particular part of the body, muscle. Now direct your mind once again to the area of greatest intensity. And now to somewhere that's not intense. Somewhere that if you didn't actively bring your mind there, you probably wouldn't be aware of it at all. And to your breathing. Direct the mind's attention to the breathing. And now back to the area of greatest intensity. And just for 2 breaths, see if you can pay attention to all those things at the same time, because they're all happening and they're all connected. That place in your body where you feel the stretch the most, the breath, and that place that until you paid attention you weren't really aware of. It's just practice. It's okay if it's hard. It's just a little experiment. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, twist around. The legs come out, front of you. And we're going to do just one more posture, which is a seated forward bend. Now, when the lowest part of lower back, the sacral area, is straight or supported, it's easier to straighten the rest of the back. So, if that's effortful for you, and it is for most of us, you can place a cushion. You're not sitting on it, just under like the base of the spine, sort of the back of your bottom, and see how that changes the ability to sit upright. Flex the feet, drawing the toes towards the nose, and you can have a little bend in your knee. It doesn't have to be super intense straightening them. But even with the bend in the knee, when you flex your feet, you get a stretch behind the back of your legs. Inhale, lift the arms up. And remember, your heart has to work much harder here to get that oxygen-rich blood up to the hands. And see, like in the beginning, if you can just lengthen the lower back, opening the chest a bit. It takes even more energy. And it will probably change how you feel yourself breathing. Release that intensity of lifting up with the hands still up overhead. And again, rise up. And notice if you feel any pulsation in your hand. That's partially because of that oxygen-rich blood being pumped up there, being nourished. The hands come down. And now we're going to do a forward bend. So draw the arms out, not overhead. Keep the back straight. Remember, you can have the bend in the knee, and you don't have to reach the feet. Instead, just focus on keeping that back straight. That will keep the stretch behind the back of the legs. You don't have to come down for them to happen. And rather than stretching through the neck and looking up a bit, and that works your upper back more. Let the neck be at ease. so that the focus is on lengthening the lower back and the stretch behind the legs. Just breathe. I hope you were doing that anyway. There's nothing more to do in terms of changing the position. Unless you want to. Notice what's pulling your attention in the most. Where is the greatest level of intensity? Feel your breathing self. And then place the mind to somewhere where you don't feel much going on, so you weren't paying attention at all. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, lower the arms. And now we're going to come into our resting pose or Shavasana. Right? So we've spent quite a few poses looking at how when we straighten the legs, it has an impact on the back, specifically the lower back. So if your lower back feels sensitive, maybe you want to bend your knees or place something underneath that does, especially if you don't have something underneath, it works the thighs a little bit more. And if you don't feel any tension in your lower back, you can straighten both of your legs. The heels are about as far away from each other as the width, is it the length of the yoga mat? The arms are away from the body, palms up. And we're just gonna be in this relaxation in Shavasana for a few minutes. And to support the mind and moving into stillness, point the toes, flex the toes towards the nose. Obviously, if you have your knees bent, it's going to be a bit harder, but you can still have some action in the feet. And then rotate the wrists, both directions. And then allow yourself to come to stillness. If your legs are straight, the feet are really flopping out away from each other, pointing away from the mat. And you choose where to pay attention. And in Shavasana, it's usually the breath. So see if you can do that. It's hard to keep the mind on something subtle, a sensation that isn't intense. So we just think of it as sort of a practice, which is what this is. How often can you pay attention to something subtle? How often can you notice when the mind started focusing on something else, another part of your body, a thought? And how often can you bring the mind back to the breathing? It's more of just kind of playing with it, than trying to get the mind to be still there. Paying attention, noticing when you're not, and then redirecting the attention to the breath. Feel free to stay here if you'd like. But if you want to follow my guidance, wiggle first your fingers, really feel them. Maybe even notice how wiggling your fingers, that sensation can move all the way up through your forearms. And then go ahead, wiggle your toes, your feet. You might feel that up your legs. Draw the arms up, back. Behind you, you might touch the ground, backs of your hands. And then if your knees are already bend your knees. Roll to your right hand side. You can use your right arm as a cushion for the right ear if you'd like. Choose where you're going to put the left hand. Where does it feel most comfortable? Direct the mind to the breath. And being very conscious of how pressing into the hands affects the arms up to the shoulders. Use your hands to sit. You can place a cushion underneath the bottom if you like. Anywhere else. And we're just going to spend a moment or so here, just and seated. Your eyes opened and focused, downcast about a foot in front of you, or closed. Lift again through the low back, all the way up. Draw the shoulders back just a little bit. Again, to increase the sensation of breathing. And then honor yourself for engaging in this practice. However you'd like, you can say something, you can tap a part of your body or hold it. And let the eyes look forward. They were closed, you're opening them, fluttering them up if you're looking down. And let us end how we started. Just placing our hand around different parts of the body to feel them. And now from our inner universe to our outer one, just look around you, looking up gently to one side, gently to the other. Look down. Place your palms up, look at your hands. And then again forward. Thank you so much for your practice.